What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Alain Gonzalez here, and today we are going to finalize this series, the series on strength standards. We've been talking a lot about bench pressing 225 pounds for reps in your first year of training. In yesterday's video, I talked about all the different variables that would determine whether or not this is realistic for you. And then I mentioned that there's one more variable that would not necessarily ensure that you hit this number, but will ensure that you're maximizing your capacity, right? Maximizing the amount of weight you're able to push on the bench press. This one thing is what took my bench press from 205 to 225 instantly without me having to get stronger. It's the one thing that if my buddy fixes, will allow him to bench press 315 for reps as opposed to hitting it for a single. All right? So without further ado, I've got my buddy Kyle Hunt of Hunt Fitness, and he's going to go over how to keep tightness on the bench and the actual proper setup if you want to maximize your bench press. Okay? He's a highly sought after strength coach. He's a guy who at 165 about bench presses 405. Okay? So if anybody is qualified to talk about a bigger bench, it's him. So without further ado, I'll let him take it away. Talk soon.
What's up, guys? Kyle Hunt from Hunt Fitness TV, and I'm going to teach you guys how to bench press. And not just bench press, but how to execute the bench press to lift the most weight possible.
The first thing I want to talk about is shoulder retraction and depression. So essentially what that is, it's retracting your shoulder blades backwards, like you're squeezing a pencil between your two shoulder blades and then actually pushing it down to lock them into place. As you can see, this is how you would set that up in practice. The key is to maintain tension on the bench. A lot of people can create that tension when they're not on the bench, but then as soon as they go onto the bench, they lose it, which is not what we want to do. That's why the setup process is very, very important. Now, next up, I want to talk about the arch. The bench press arch gets a lot of hate, especially in YouTube comments, but there's a reason powerlifters do arch on the bench press. And the main reason is because it allows you to lift more weight. The arch allows you to lift more weight because it shortens the range of motion. But in addition to that, it also puts your shoulders in a better position, a more stable position as well. As you can see in the video here, this is me benching with a flat back. It creates a longer range of motion, and it actually puts your shoulders in a very unhealthy position. And that's why a lot of people have shoulder pains when they're bench pressing. Next up, I just want to really talk about foot position here. Notice how my feet are flat. The leg drive is very important, and something that you're going to have to take, it's going to take some time to learn. But this is the biggest mistake I see in terms of feet position. People are constantly moving their feet when they're bench pressing, like I'm showing right here. This is not what you want to do at all. Keep your feet stable and don't move them. Next up, we're going to go really rapid fire here. Grip position. Look at my wrist. Notice how my wrists are straight. A lot of people bend the wrist back. That's, again, another mistake. You don't want to do that. Grip the bar tight and keep your wrists straight. Now, in terms of grip width, it's very personal. Some people are going to do better with a little bit closer grip, as I'm showing here, but then most people, generally speaking, are going to be stronger with a wider grip. So don't be afraid to go a little bit wider. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, especially with arm length. Like I'm a T-Rex. I have short arms, so I have a little bit closer grip. But if you're a taller guy, longer arms, longer limb person, you're going to benefit with a little bit wider grip. Rack height is something that is commonly overlooked, and you don't want to do that. That's why you'll always see me benching in a squat rack. Now, if you don't have that available and you have to use a pre-racked bench, make sure you use a setting that allows you to just get the bar out of the rack. You don't want it too low or too high because it's going to affect your positioning. Next up, elbows. This is another common mistake a lot of people make. Benching with flared elbows not only limits how much weight you can use, but it also, again, puts your shoulders in a very bad position. Tuck your elbows a little bit on the way down, and it's okay if you flare them a little bit on the way up, but not excessively. I'm going to wrap up going over a couple more mistakes. One, head positioning. You got to keep your head on the bench. It looks ridiculous when you lift it off, and it's not a good practice to get into. Next up, we all love the people who do half reps. We got the half repper who only goes halfway down, and then we also have the half repper that only goes halfway up. Don't be either one of these guys. Full range of motion is best for strength and muscular development. And then, of course, you have the guy who bounces the bar off his chest. If you compete in powerlifting, I think you should pause every single rep. But if you don't, there's no reason to pause your reps, but just make sure you bring the bar to a steady stop and you're controlling the bar at all times. There's no reason to bounce the bar off your chest and use momentum. Make your muscles do the work. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial on the bench press. And if you have any more questions about how to bench press, I do have an article on my website, kylehuntfitness.com, that goes into a little bit more detail. Alright, talk to you guys later.
There you have it, guys. That is the one variable that will change the game for you when it comes to bench pressing. Again, it's the one thing that took me from 205 to 225 for reps with no increases in strength. All right, when you become more efficient and your body is in a stronger position and you're safer, you're going to be able to continuously progress again. Okay, now if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to go subscribe to Kyle Hunt on YouTube. I'm going to link it down below. If you have any questions regarding this video, please leave them in the comment section. And again, if there's any other YouTubers out there that I recommend their information, it's Kyle. He's one of my go-to guys, especially when it comes to things like bench press technique. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.